So these are two more vegetatively propagating stems. Bulbil is a bulb or blob-like structure, a rounded spherical structure. The best example for that is the onion, right? So the onion bulb, we all must have seen the spring onions, in that the lowermost part, right? So that actually has the capability to give rise to a new plant. So the bulb-like structure are found in all the Liliaceae family. We have studied Liliaceae family in class 11. So all the Liliaceae family members, or onion is also coming under that, the garlic is also coming under that, and all the lily flower varieties, all of them, they develop from the bulbil or bulb. Clear? Okay. Now what is this? Opposite. Now opposite is found, the best example for opposite is the water hyacinth. Okay, water hyacinth. So water hyacinth is commonly, or the scientific name is Eichhornia, and the Eichhornia type, the opposite is found, it is a fleshy stem joining the two plant parts. So mostly these are aquatic plants, and the aquatic plants, the spongy opposite is very much capable, it is very potential to give rise to a new plant, and that is the reason this water hyacinth most of the time is regarded as a parasitic plant, or we can say it is a hazardous, dangerous plant for the aquatic ecosystem. So once the offset of water hyacinth that comes to one water body, within a very short period, the total offset will give rise to many number of plants, and it totally covers the water body. Then next, what will happen? So the other organisms, those who are living in the water, they will not get the dissolved oxygen properly, because the water hyacinth will cover the top layer of water. So when the atmospheric oxygen mixes with the water, then only the dissolved oxygen is formed. And if the dissolved oxygen is not enough, or it is not formed properly, then it is going to affect all the aquatic organisms. So finally what is going to happen? The total aquatic body will be destroyed by the development of water hyacinth. So water hyacinth is also called as the terror of Bengal for this reason. Why? Because it doesn't allow the dissolved oxygen to form, right? So if the surface of water does not come in contact with the atmosphere, so there is no dissolved oxygen formation, and if there is no dissolved oxygen, so the aquatic organisms will not get it from the water. So this is the reason when the water hyacinth develops on any water body, it destroys the complete water ecosystem or aquatic ecosystem, and this is the reason why it is called as the terror of Bengal. And the particular name Bengal is used, why it is called only terror of Bengal, because there is a story behind it. When Britishers were there in India, ruling over India, they thought that this particular species, the Eichhornia species, can be brought into India as an exotic species, and it can be grown in India, in the water bodies of India, and it will bear a very nice flower, a purple color nice flower it bears. So it will be an ornamental plant in gardens or different lakes, ponds and tourist places. But later what was found, that after a small plant develops of this water hyacinth, it completely spreads over the water body, and it completely destroys the aquatic ecosystem. So within few years, the total indigenous species, that is the local species of plants and animals, they started dying, or they got all destroyed because of the growth of this water hyacinth. As this hyacinth was first planted in the Bengal, West Bengal, so it is known as the terror of Bengal. Now let us see how does the opposite it looks in the water hyacinth. Suppose this is the plant, the hyacinth plant, and these are the roots. These are almost floating plants, right? So floating means they will be submerged plants. So half of the plant will be under the water and only the leaves will be outside. Clear? Okay. So from here you can see a part I am drawing. This particular part which I am shading is the offset of the plant. So when the offset ends, a new plant is here, a new plant body is growing. So these are the roots of the new plant body. So one more offset, okay, and a new plant. So new branches, new plants, and the roots will be there. Now the problem with the offset is highly breakable. It can break very easily because it is spongy in nature, and with a small force, small water current, the offset can break. And once the offset is broken, suppose this part of the offset is broken from the main plant, then this is going to move in the water current. So it will move to different angles, and then to different parts it will move, and there it will grow into a new water hyacinth plant. It will start creating its own branches, new offsets, new plants, totally covering the water body and destroying it at the same time. Clear? So this is how the offset, it also propagates vegetatively. Now the last part, that is the artificial part. So let us see how the artificial one takes place. So artificial means it is with the intervention of human being. So man-made, artificial, we can say. There are three methods for this. Okay. So one is the cutting, the layering, and the grafting process. Okay. So cutting, layering, and grafting. These are the three methods which are used for cultivation purpose, which are used by farmers, which are used by humans, and for different research purpose for making different hybrids. Now cutting is a simple process, stem cutting, and cutting the stem and keeping it or putting it in another soil or another pot. So very common examples of this are rose, jasmine, hibiscus. In regular process in our gardens also, we use this cutting process to make new plants from the existing plant. Layering, here the branch will not be cut in that of cutting. Cutting, what happens, we first cut the branch, then we put it in different place. But in layering, what happens, layering, we don't cut the plant. The branch will be just along with the host plant, it will be kept in the soil. When a new plant comes out of the soil, so the part of the branch which is attached to the host plant, that will be cut after the new plant comes. So that is how it is different from cutting. And the last one, grafting, two different branches joined together, and some hormones or some chemicals which are used to help the jointed two branches to create roots and shoot system, so that a new character will arise from both the source plants. So hybrid characters are obtained by using grafting methods. Yeah. So these are the methods of vegetative propagation. But in all these methods, one important thing which is to be mentioned is whether it is an artificial method or it is a natural method of vegetative propagation, every place we need a node. Node is a part of the plant which has meristematic tissues. You know, node and internodes are present in the branch. So without a node available, there cannot be vegetative propagation. So the complete process of vegetative propagation is dependent on the part of the plant that is known as the node. So this particular part, node, is very important for vegetative propagation, whether it is taking place naturally or it is taking place artificially. So if node is not there, there cannot be any new plant. Clear? Okay. So one more thing, by leaf we skipped. So I will write here, by leaf. We know the example we read in class 10. The example for this one is Bryophyllum. Okay, Bryophyllum leaves. Okay, And here what happens, the leaf margin will have notches. The points, the grooves points will be there. If that is kept in water or in soil, it starts developing the new root and shoot system. So the plantlets, they start developing at the notches of the leaf. Suppose if I draw, this is the Bryophyllum leaf, and here are the notches, the points, the groups which are present. So at one point, the tiny plant with the roots, it will start developing at the notches. So the root system, with the root system, this shoot and root both will develop from the notches. That is vegetative propagation by leaves. So everywhere we need, only in leaf there is no presence of node, but in all other procedures, all other places, we need a node area. A node area is very much important, mostly when it is with stem. Without the node, it is not possible to make a new plant. So whether it is sugarcane or any example, so we need a node. Sugarcane, you must have seen, the node areas will have root-like structure. The adventitious roots will be there. So if the sugarcane is cut between the nodes in the internode area, it will never develop into a new plant. So that node part plays a very important role for vegetative propagation. So in the next video, we will be discussing different aspects of the sexual mode of reproduction.